behind legends of political leadership, such as Lincoln, Churchill, Gandhi, King, and Mandela, whose achievements demonstrate that the power of one is remarkably important in the great reform movements and fights for justice, and in government itself. Decisions by individual presidents and prime ministers still count, not only in policy matters, but in guiding national consciousness. Man is by nature a political animal. Aristotle. Politics. What is politics exactly? Politikos in ancient Greek meant the affairs of the city-state of Athens, and the polis was the body of citizens that ran the city. From the beginning, politics was something owned by the people. Government by a despot or tyrant was not so much about politics, but about rule. In time, the word politics has come to mean the art and science of government, or the social relations involving authority and power. Most people today think of politics as the conflict between parties and ideas on the national stage, or the relations between states on the global scene. At a more basic social and cultural level, when we say that something is political, we are saying that it is contested, seen in completely different ways, thanks to opposing deeper philosophies of life and interpretation of what is good. These different ways of seeing come partly from our families, partly from societal conditioning, and the times in which we live, and perhaps from some innate sense of justice. Aristotle's famous statement seems rather obvious 2,300 years on. Nearly all of us live in a political community, usually a state, and abide by its rules. Whether our current nation is open or authoritarian, if we leave, we are likely to find ourselves in another country, with its own, possibly different rules. Even if we did find a corner of the world where states and laws did not exist, chances are it would not be a place worth living in. We come together for the sake of community, and live under laws for good reason, and our lives are shaped by the polity in which we live. Aristotle believed that the state was a creation of nature, and that came before the individual. After all, people, when isolated, are not self-sufficient, and will seek to become part of a larger whole. To him, individuals who decide to stay on their own would remain either a beast or a god. The state was, in every sense, greater than the individual, and being part of it was a privilege. Humans existed for the glory of the state, not vice versa. The story of Socrates further reveals this classical reverence for the state. Having been given a death sentence for exposing hypocrisy and corruption in the Athenian government, Socrates' friends wanted him to bribe the jailers and escape. Why not continue damning its rulers from exile? Surely that would be the most useful, not to mention satisfying, thing to do. Yet Socrates did exactly the opposite. Fully accepting his fate on the grounds that his sentence had been handed down in an Athenian court, he chose to die. The act would demonstrate that the state and its rules were more important than any one person, even one who felt that the laws were wrong. For the ancient Greeks, what made us really different from other animals, apart from our power of speech, was our ability to discern what is just or unjust, good or evil. So it followed that the purpose of the state was also fundamentally moral. Though they differ in the details of how they thought society should be run, Aristotle and Plato understood that when human beings enter society, they are raised up and civilized because they are made to live according to a higher principle: justice. This way of seeing the relationship between state and citizen did not last, of course. While Christian thinkers, such as Augustine and Aquinas, maintained the moral dimension of politics by calling for the building of a city of God on earth, later political theorists, such as Machiavelli and Hobbes, developed a more sanguine view of the state. Machiavelli was in favor of republics, but believed that they could only stay afloat via a strong centralized state, and even then the purpose of the state was not just per se, nor the elevation of the citizenry, but maintaining law and order. Hobbes' view of government was even more clear-cut. Prior to civilization, he noted, people lived in a state of continual fear of violent death and war. There was no sense of a greater good.